didn't step, but hobbled onto the top step of the podium in Melilla in Sweden in front of an ecstatic set of home fans as winner of round 6 of this year's World Championship. The rain that threatened to curtail the meeting never materialised as our riders once again took to the shale on another night of high-octane drama. The talking point of Heat 6 was Heat 6. Dudek was attempting to go around Mikkel Mikkelsen for the race lead when they both clashed, leaving Dudek falling to the ground in front of Lindgren, who with natural instinct pulled his bike onto one wheel, effectively jumping over Dudek. Lindgren then piled into the fence, closely followed by Max Frick. Miraculously, all riders brushed themselves off and carried on racing. Eventually, Madsen, Janowski and Laguta would join Lindgren in the final. Lindgren in yellow was quick away from the outside gate and took to the dirt line, and by turn 3 was into the lead. The likeable Swede was then applauded and cheered for the rest of the race by his home fans and applauded to light for not only the victory, but the heroics of Heat 6.
It's been an eventful evening for me with a huge crash, and as you said, I can hardly walk, but I certainly can ride a bike, and gave it everything I had and came out with a win. Woo!
So after Melilla and 2 rounds with 3 riders tying for the lead at the World Championship, Denmark's Leon Madsen has now taken a 6-point lead over Poland's Bartosz Marslik. Emil Sayfutdinov third, just a point behind the pole, along with Slovakian Martin Vasilik, with the hero of Melilla, Sweden's Lindgren, 5th on 63. So from Sweden, the series has a short trip south to Germany and Teterow and the Bergring Arena. Hi there, good evening and welcome to FIM Speedway Grand Prix qualifying from the Bergring Arena in Teterow. Welcome along, beautiful sunny evening here in Teterow. A delight to be here. It's round 7 of the FIM World Speedway Championship, and it's all about qualifying tonight ahead of tomorrow's main event, the FIM Speedway Grand Prix of Germany. Big crowd expected here tomorrow night. Plenty of interesting qualifying as well. I can tell you that 15 of the 16 riders are here. Martin Smolinski is nursing a knock, the wild card, the German star. He's nursing a knock and therefore misses out on qualifying here this evening. Now, a pleasant sunshine, which is what we didn't have here for the Grand Prix last year when the top surface was scraped off. What about the all-important track conditions? Let's head down now to the track itself for an update from Kelvin Tatum.
Thanks, Nigel. It's terrific to be back here in the Bergring Arena for the 4th time. And I must say, we've seen free practice and everybody seemed to be doing quite nicely. In actual fact, the free practice times were very tight indeed. I've got the dirtometer with me. We're right on the inside of the entrance to turn number 3. Pretty slick here, but what I would say is that the track is beginning just to break up a little bit. There is a small rut there, so we will have to keep an eye on that as the time qualifying goes through. As we move out to 3/4 track here, little bit more grip here, and that's important, particularly here. Not loads of grip, and there is some new material that they've actually put on the track in the last month. But because this track is fundamentally pretty flat, it is important to actually have a little bit of grip on the outside so the guys can chase it, and it opens up more opportunities. There's no doubt that this place had a wonderful Grand Prix last year with Ty Woofington coming through. Time qualifying just about to get underway. We're thoroughly looking forward to it.
Thanks very much indeed, Kelvin. Yes, as we say, glorious sunshine here in Germany this evening, and a big night in prospect tomorrow at a pivotal stage of the World Championship, of course. We're here tonight, then we're in Vojens in 7 days' time in Denmark, then it's Cardiff on the 21st of September, and we round it all off in Toruń in Poland in October. So it's beautifully poised. Leon Madsen leads the way right now in the World Championship, of course. And let's head down trackside for the first time tonight. It's good evening, Kiri Blore.
Nigel, thank you so much. Yes, down here with Leon Madsen, fastest in practice and 6 points clear of our championship table at the moment. Feeling good going into tonight?
Yeah, it feels good. The first time I'm here on the track, but they put some new material on not long time ago, and it seems to be working all right. It's breaking up a little bit, but so far so good. And yeah, as you said, I had good speed on my bikes, and hopefully I can keep it going for the qualification and for tomorrow meeting.
All right, thanks so much, Leon. Enjoy qualifying. Nigel, I'll hand back to you.
Thanks very much indeed, Kiri. Yes, just taking a look through now what's in store here for qualifying here this evening. And as always, a terrific lineup for the Aztorin German FIM Speedway Grand Prix. And this is the way they line up after free practice a little bit earlier. Janowski, Saifutinov, Kawadze, Iversen, who's in the Grand Prix next year, of course, after the challenge last week. Dudek, Wolfenden, Laguta, Vasilik, Schmarslik, Lindbach, Doyle, Zagar, Madsen, Lindgren and Lambert. That is the order they're going to go in here in qualifying tonight. First rider we see then is Magic Matvej Janowski, Kelv.
We do indeed, and he's a rider that's looking for a big result tomorrow night, and of course this evening's qualifying will give him a boost for that. A classy performer, of course, but he's had an up and down season so far. As I said just in that brief track report I had, it's the timings from free practice were so close indeed. There was really like a tenth between 10 riders. It really is a blink of an eye between these Grand Prix stars. We're into his second lap. This is when we generally see an improvement in time. 14.5. Actually, 14.5 is very good. That was one of the better times from earlier on. 14.6 was the popular number from free practice. So Magic Janowski starting in fine style here, quite possibly getting the track at the right time.
Yeah, track that has had free practice on it in the build-up to this, but a venue that you've got a great affection for, Kelv. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, just over the other side of the hill there is the Bergring itself, which is a 1.8 kilometre grass track with right and left-hand corners. And in May every year we used to race there, and I was fortunate enough to do that on a regular basis. So, yeah, I have fond memories of this part of the world. And there's no doubt that Janowski, I think that that's quite a decent time. When you reflect on the times earlier on, there's no doubt that 14.5 could represent something quite good.
OK, 14.580 confirmation is Magic Janowski's time. The Pole, of course, who missed the opening round of the series this year with that broken collarbone, which was quite a complicated break. Now, what about Emil Saifutinov? It's a big night tomorrow for Emil in his world title hopes, Kelv.
Yeah, you've got to believe that. Disappointing last time in Melilla. And looking like he was really going to push on, but failed to make the semi-finals, and that would have been a blow. So there's no doubt that he needs to bounce back. Not worrying about the clock here. He's gone over to the far side, going to do a practice start. We have actually, in Wrocław, a couple of Grand Prix ago, we actually just saw him do one lap. And he managed to actually produce quite a stunning time. So Emil goes out on the track, very relaxed about this. As this lap now is the one we need to keep an eye on. The first lap, obviously, he was stood still for a period of time. But Emil is in with a shout at the World Championship. So Teterow here this weekend is hugely important. 14.6. Yeah, that represents a similar time that he did in free practice. Track has actually come back to the riders because it slowed down after the first initial runs.
Yep, Emil Saifutinov, who is third place right now in the World Championship with 68 points, level with Martin Vasilik, a point behind Bartosz Schmarslik, and 7 behind the leader, Leon Madsen. So that's rider number 2 done and dusted in our qualifying here tonight. Emil Saifutinov on 14.615, so it's Matvej Janowski who's still quickest after the next rider, 14.580. So, of course, a reminder how qualifying works here tonight, Kelvin. The qualifying system, all about timing, trying to bring Speedway in line with other motorsports, of course, and the order with which you finish gives you the more preferential pick for the number you take in tomorrow night's lineup.
Yeah, the better the time, then more opportunities you have, and quite possibly a start number that you really quite fancy. Inside gates here traditionally have proven to be the favourite. Gates 1 and 2 have worked very well, and the previous 3 visits we've had. Gate 4 also can produce some good race winners. Kolodje's having a good season. Understated sort of character, doesn't say too much, but he's been going about his business very professionally indeed. He's the Polish champion. He won in Prague, of course. He's in the top 8. He's doing all right.
Yeah, Janusz Kolodze has certainly done reasonably well on his return to the Grand Prix series. It's been a while, of course. He's just outside the top 8, a couple of points behind Artem Laguta. So Kolodze racing for his Grand Prix future over the next 4 rounds here. Voyens, Cardiff and Torren, and looking for a good time here, where at the moment he's just behind Saifutinov and Janowski on 14.6.
He's replicated the time he did earlier on, so again, that's a decent effort. Tyre, when it's fresh, certainly seems to be working on that first full flying lap. That's worked for the first 3 runners, so it'll be interesting to see how the times pan out as the riders go through, but we've nearly got a full contingent here. Only the wild card Martin Smolinski is missing. He's out with a back injury, but Janis Kolodje, third place at this early stage.
Well, Martin Smolinski has said quite defiantly, yes, I will give qualifying a miss because he wants to have more treatment and rest up that injury, but I will be in Teterow. He's not going to miss that, Martin Smolinski,
No,
because
he's not.
Quite a bit of competition for a wild card these days when you've got Eric Riss, of course, and Kai Hülkenberg.
Well, Kai has actually been the wild card here previously and actually comes from this part of the country, whereas Martin's actually from the south of Germany. So, yeah, there is quite a lot of emphasis on the pick for the Grand Prix, but Martin's got it this time. And this man on the track is a fully fledged Grand Prix rider for next year. So he came through the GP Challenge in Godashan last weekend in fine style. So he's absolutely chuffed to bits with that. Has actually joined the ranks of the Ipswich Witches very recently, and he will finish the season with them. Probably as a consequence of his Polish fixtures that have now finished with Torrent. But Iversen looking for a big performance, looking to finish the season in style because he's had a hard time this year. And 14.8 doesn't represent a great time. 14.5 from Janowski is significantly quicker than that. But for Iversen, I know that he really does want to turn his season around in these last few weeks.
Well, we know he can do it. He started the series with 14 points in Warsaw in the opening round, but it just hasn't happened for him since, Niels. But had a great Grand Prix challenge in Croatia last weekend, as you've referred to, and that is why he's booked his place in next year's series. He's outside of the top 8 right now. The top 8 guarantees you a spot for next year, but Niels right now is 11th on 41 points, and he's 9 points adrift of the top 8.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter now because he's already safe and secure for next year's series after his efforts in Godashan last weekend.
And you're absolutely right in that regard, but there is a sense of pride.
Of course.
He's got 4 Grand Prix to go, and of course you don't just want to be making the numbers up. His CV is far too good for that. So
one of them in Denmark.
Exactly. Next week in Denmark, in Vojens, of course he'll want to put in a huge performance there. Now this man, Patrick Dudek, who is he's a former world number 2. He's an outstanding rider. He pushed Jason Doyle all the way in 2017, of course. And Patrick looking for a big performance here.
He is 14 off the lead. It's make or break stage now for him, isn't it?
With 4 rounds to go, plenty of points available, but there's no question he's going to need a big haul of points in tomorrow's. A 15, a 16-point haul would really come in handy. 14.7 on his first flying lap.
He started with 16, 12 and 12 in the first 3 rounds and hasn't hit double figures since Prague.
No, so he's gone off form, a little bit untidy there. But as I say, he needs to come back to that consistency of performance that he had at the beginning of the season. And he's rock solid on 14.7, which will see him into 4th place, as I say, at this early stage. And if he could hang on in 4th place, that would be job done, because that still gives you a half-sensible chance of a pick that you quite prefer. I do think that riders will focus on getting inside gates, because there's no doubt with the weather set fair for tomorrow, track conditions are going to be similar to what they're encountering now, and that will favour the inside gates 1 and 2 for tomorrow night.
Well, Patrick Dudek, 4th out of the 5 that have gone out there now, 14.755. So he's behind Janowski, Saifutinov and Kowodze, and just ahead of Niels Christian Iversen. So that's 5 of the 15 riders. We're a third of the way through qualifying, and a reminder at the end of the runs that the boys have here, then we go into the pick of the riders for their position in the 1 to 16 tomorrow night. That's where their management team and the riders themselves, some of them get their iPhones out and look at the race card.
Last year's winner, Nigel, the world champion Ty Woofenden, who had a difficult time in Melilla, just could not get the bike off the start. Had a chat with him. He's very relaxed. He's been riding well in the leagues, looking for a big performance tomorrow night and here this evening. Of course, 14.5, that's stunning. Place number 2, that's the best qualifying he's done so far, comfortably. And it's been an indifferent Grand Prix campaign for the world champion. Never really got going, in truth, and then of course the back injury curtailed it. But he wants to finish with a flourish. He's got Cardiff to look forward to, of course, on the 21st of September. And the world champion's putting, well, that first lap, Nigel, 14.59, that's very good. 2nd overall out of the 6 that have gone out there.
Woofenden's got some big promotions coming up as well. He's got an autobiography coming out, and I'm pretty sure there'll be no holds barred with his opinions and his views, because he can be pretty outspoken, Mr. Woofenden.
That's the way he is, isn't it? He speaks from the heart and says what he thinks, but Woofenden will be pleased when he comes in. 14.590 is a good time, and as I said just previously, that's the best effort he's made in qualifying so far. So Pete Adams and the team will be now reflecting on the programme to, you know, look at what number they would prefer for tomorrow night. Riders to come, of course, but I suggest that he'll have a decent pick a little later on.
What a huge win it was here last year for Woofenden, because he was on the crest of a slump, really. He wasn't winning races. He doesn't like talking about it. Smartschlick was closing the gap, closing the gap.
Why would you?
Exactly. But then he popped out, won a race, went on and did the rest. Yeah. And I think it was that night in Teterow that really helped him get over the line.
Well, it was a penultimate round. It was hugely important. He was under massive pressure and winning in style. Didn't look that convincing early on in the night, but the ride in the final was out of the top drawer, and it proved to be a hugely important win as he went on to win in Torun a couple of weeks later. Now, Laguta, very much improved last time, got a whole hatful of points in Melillo. That was much more like in his old self. 14.8 isn't, though. He'll be disappointed with that. He needs to try and improve on that if he can.
Bottom of the table.
Yeah, that's 7th as we speak. Artem, of course, is an electric starter, and if he can find his clutch hand tomorrow, then there's no doubt that he'll be in with a shout. Had a better time than that earlier on, actually. So he will be disappointed with that. Just slipping backwards now. You just sense that the time has gone. That first flying lap appears to be the one that really counts.
Yeah, Laguta 7th out of 7th then right now, 14.841. The fastest, Janowski's 14.580. So,
good time, that.
Yeah, there you can see the differential between 1 and 7. Transponders on the bike, so the first ever year of timed practice, qualifying, if you like, to have your pick of the 1 to 16, where you want to be in the ranking, if you like, or in the starting order, the starting lineup tomorrow night. Because you can study where you may get 2 gate 1s, or if you're on the back of every grading break. There are various situations to consider.
There are lots of permutations, and it becomes more complex the further down the list you are. When there are less opportunities, you're trying to get the best of a bad job in some respects. We're looking at Martin Vacilic now. He's had a good season, a rock-solid season. Martin is, there's no question, he is in with a shout of a medal this year. He's riding well, hasn't won a Grand Prix. He's had 3 second places. So he's desperate to get on top of the box in a Grand Prix before the end of the season. But Martin, he's a lean, mean fighting machine these days, isn't he? He really is a racing snake of a guy, and he's riding on, but 14.8, that puts him in 7th. That will be disappointment for him. Just a little bit untidy. I think the track, Nigel, is just beginning to break up in a few places. And that might just be causing 1 or 2 of these later guys a bit of a problem.
Yeah, he's got 2 double-figure scores in the last 3 rounds. He's got a 16 and a 15, and he got a 9 in Sweden, in Melilla, last time out. So this really is a massive Grand Prix tomorrow night, and it's all live with us, 7 o'clock local time here in Germany, 6 o'clock in the UK for our BT Sport viewers. Hope you can join us for a terrific night of racing here tomorrow night.
I'm sure they will, and when you look at the performances of Leon Madsen, who we are going to see in the second group, Madsen leads the championship by 6 points. He's made 5 out of 6 finals. His performance level has been championship winning form, and that's putting pressure on everybody else right now.
So there you go, Mats Janowski leads the way after 8 riders have been out there, and we look forward to the next 7 to come out, and that we'll have that very shortly. Qualifying classification here, and we'll have more when we come back in a few moments. Hi there, welcome back. Yes, here we are, and beautiful. Well, the sun's just setting over the distance over there at the Bergring. It's been beautiful, yeah.
It has been, and it's still a balmy temperature, so it's very pleasant indeed. We've seen the first 8 runners, and very tightly packed at the top. And I've got to say, Woofenden came up with a much more improved performance there, Nige. And Janowski, first out on the track, seems to have utilised conditions absolutely spot on.
Yeah, very much so. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow night because of the fact that for once, they're not going to have to scrape the top surface off just
No.
to get the meeting on. You know, we're going to see a proper speedway track tomorrow.
We will do, and last year was tricky. It was all very nearly off last year, and we had to have that delay. That's not going to be the case tomorrow evening. It's going to be about 27, 28 when we start the meeting. So, yeah, plenty of good weather for everybody to enjoy. And so far, we've enjoyed the first 8 runners, reasonably tightly packed. 14.6 was a very popular number in the free training. 3 guys on it coming out of, 2 of them on that and 2 on 14.5. So 1 or 2 boys really putting a good time together. And I just suggest with the weather set fair night for tomorrow night, there's no doubt that the inside gates could well prove to be an advantage. So, you know, getting a good pick after tonight could be very handy indeed.
Yep, so we'll be welcoming our British broadcasters back from a commercial break very shortly indeed. But the next 7 riders are preparing to make their way out onto the circuit here at the Bergring Arena in Teterow. And we'll welcome our British viewers back very shortly. So a reminder, we're live tomorrow night for the meeting itself, and we're back in a moment with more qualifying. Hi there, welcome back. Yes, we're live here at the Bergring Arena here in Teterow, Germany for round 7 of the FIM Speedway World Championship. It's the Aztorin FIM Speedway Grand Prix of Germany, and we're looking forward to a terrific night of racing here. I think this is, what, the 4th straight year that we've been here now for the Grand Prix, and it is a hotbed of the sport, this part of the world, motorsport here in Germany, in Teterow. We've got Güstrow up the road. They love their speedway around here.
Yeah, there's several speedway clubs in the northeast of Germany. It's not too far away from Poland. Of course, you get plenty of Poles coming across the border. So, yeah, it's a smashing part of the world. It's a beautiful part of the world.
Yeah, very much so. And we've got some reaction, I think, very shortly now to the first, 7 or 8 riders that have gone out there. Matt Sajanovski leads the way. Let's catch up with some rider reaction now with Kiri.
Thanks so much, Nigel and Calvin out there. Yeah, down here with Ty, pretty good qualifying for you. 2nd fastest at the moment. Were you happy with that?
Yeah, definitely. I wasn't fast at all in practice, so we just made a little change for the qualifying, and seems to work. So I'll run that tomorrow and see how we go. Okay,
tell us what you think the track's like. Obviously grading now. Do you think the guys are going to get a better track now or the same?
It's probably one of the most boring tracks to race on in the world, but GP's here, so we'll have to make starts because I don't think there'll be much passing. Okay, well, we're told Redgate works well out there. Is that what you've got the information of as well? Yeah, Red's definitely a good one. Gate 4 can work well here as well. You definitely don't want to be going from Gate 3, so hopefully we're still up there by the end of qualifying and we can avoid a Gate 3. All right, thanks so much, Ty. Nigel and Kelvin, sending it back down to you.
Thanks very much indeed, Kiri. Yes, up here in the pit lane, a lot of riders, once again, you know, if ever you want to question what the riders think of qualifying, and I know there's been quite a bit of cynicism around qualifying and people trying to adapt to it and get used to it, but there's more and more riders that have been huddled around here now just watching those first 8 riders.
No, we were surrounded, and there's no question that riders want a good time. You know, psychologically, it's important. So, yeah, they're taking note of it. Obviously, Ty's done a good time there, and he's more than aware that Gate 3 is not the favoured gate here. So, if it stays this way, then there's every chance that he'll have an opportunity for at least a number that gives him 2 Gate 1s. Gate number 5 has been the most popular pick. But, no, so far, so good for the world champion.
Well, Matt Sajanovski, Ty Woffinen, Emil Saifutinov, Janis Kawadze, Patrick Dudek, Niels Christian Iversen, Martin Vasilik and Artem Laguta are the riders that we have so far in that order. They are the top 8 that have gone out so far, and Matt Sajanovski is the quickest so far. Very shortly, we're going to be heading back out there, and a bit of track grading going on right now for Phil Morris, the race director.
Indeed there is. So there's no doubt that he'll be working overtime. And I think we've got some more information coming out of the pits now.
Yeah, I think we can hear more from Kiri now. Kiri, over to you.
Thanks so much, Nigel and Kelv. Yep, moved a little bit further down the pits here, and we found Emil Saifutinov. Emil, really good qualifying from you as well, currently in 3rd. Happy with how it went out there?
Yes, I'm really happy. It's I feel good speed, and hopefully, tomorrow I can keep that speed, and for sure from the start it will be also important, so I can
it's like I said before when I speak with you. So I just want to, you know, score more points, and I feel good. Track is so good, you know. I like. So we'll see.
Okay, well, the track just being graded now. Do you think it'll change much for the guys out there?
I don't think so. You know, it was a little bit slippery when I going. You know, it's qualify this 1 minute. So, but I think tomorrow will be more lines because it's like 4 riders from the tape. You know, and track will be preparing for sure. It's a little bit different, and hopefully, you know, it will be good meeting than last year.
Okay, Emil, in a massive points battle at the moment, you feeling confident going into tomorrow?
You know, it's now I wait, you know, is for the finish the qualify, and then we go to choose a number, and I have, you know, my mind, you know, what can I choose. So, but I not tell you now. So we will see, you know. So hopefully, you know, this number which I choose, you know, will be lucky for me.
Okay, thanks so much, Emil. Back to you, Nigel and Cal.
Okay, thanks very much indeed, Kira. Yes, and Bartosz Marslik is the man out next. A reminder, 8 riders so far have been out and about racing and, riding, trying to get the fastest time possible. And Bartosz Marslik is
against the clock,
number 9.
Racing against the clock, and Marslik is doing that right now. He's winding it on. His first full flying lap we will get now. 14.6, sensible time. That puts him into 4th. He'll be relatively pleased with that. Track just freshly prepared now, of course, and a little bit of water's gone on, so Bartosz appears to be taking full advantage of that. All action style from Smarslik into the second lap, very consistent, slightly slower than his first one, which is to be expected, but 2 good laps from Bartosz here, and would suggest that there's just a little bit more grip on the track after the track grading, so he may well have just caught the track at the right time.
Yep, so Bartosz Marslik in 4th place now then, 14.664.
Good time,
is his time, yeah, as the 9th rider to go out there. There's 15 of the 16 here tonight, with Martin Smolinski missing out on qualifying to rest that injury, of course, but he will definitely be here tomorrow evening to make up the full complement of Grand Prix riders tomorrow night.
Looking forward to seeing what Leon Madsen gets up to, because he quite often goes out in the second group and produces a fast time. Good to see this man back. He's been missing for a little time because of injury, but Antonio Lindback is back in the Grand Prix. Hasn't had a great campaign, so he needs 4 rounds to really turn his fortunes around, because, as I say, he's on his day, he can be electrifyingly quick, but this year so far he hasn't been able to produce it on Saturday night. Here we go.
Only 1 double-figure score this season, Kel. Yeah. 10 points in the opening round, and hasn't done that since. Not really got near.
No, it's very disappointing, that, and he'll be disappointed as well, because he knows he's capable of so much better. You can just see the track just chopping a little bit there. They're just bouncing around a little bit. 14.6, that's a good time. And suddenly he usurps Saifutinov and Smarslik. That's a terrific effort from Lindback.
3rd place.
And 3rd place, yep. And he'll be pleased with that on his return to the Grand Prix this weekend, Nigel.
Yep, very much so. So as things stand right now, Janowski, Wuffen and Lindback the top 4. Lindback hitting 14.60 with his flying lap, if you like. So rockets into 3rd place overall from the 10 riders that have been out there. And that's a good achievement so late on in qualifying, although, of course, there has been a bit of grading.
Well, it just looks like that the moisture's just beginning to soak into the material, and he utilised it perfectly. There is going to be a certain amount of good fortune at times when you get the track. Do you get it at the right time? Janowski obviously had a nice run, Wuffenden as well, but for Lindback and Smarslik, the first 2 runners in the second group, both of them have produced 2 good times, so would suggest that the track is behaving itself. Now, Jason Doyle, an interesting customer here, because his 3 Grand Prix, he has performed outstanding. His worst score here is 16 points. He's won here, won the World Championship a couple of years ago, of course. And he's looking to turn his fortunes around, because he hasn't been in great form in the GP. He's been scoring points everywhere else, Nigel, as we well know, but hasn't been able to replicate that in the GP. So for Jason, I think this is an opportunity for him to really sort of kick-start his campaign with rounds running out, because he's better than he's shown so far.
Yeah, he's scoring big points for Swindon back in the UK. They're on a winning run right now. They had a thumping win on Monday and last night as well against Peterborough, and Doyley's really in the points, absolutely flying. But this is Grand Prix Speedway, of course, and just a one double-figure score so far. That came in round 3 in Prague, where he scored 12. But as Kelvin mentions, he's got a fantastic record around here at the Bergring in Teterow. Can he keep that going tonight? He needs to, because he really does want to get into that top 8. And right now, Doyle on 42 and Legoutre on 50. He's 8 adrift of the top 8 right now.
14.66. That puts him into sixth place. Yeah. So a decent effort from Jason, and he should be relatively pleased with that. Might need a little bit of good fortune to get the number he wants, with 5 riders choosing before him. But as we've reiterated a couple of times, he likes this place. Well, he might not like it, but he certainly performs well here. So there's no doubt that he'll be looking forward to doing something very similar tomorrow night. Matti Zagar out on track, a late arrival.
Oh, he's had a dramatic day, this fella.
He's had a dreadful day with all sorts of problems. The flight was cancelled, and then a later flight. Got here, just had 1 free run. So, but he knows how to get round here. He's won here before. So, you know, this place doesn't hold any fears for him, the Bergring. So, Zagar, the silky smooth styles, and of course he won the GP Challenge last weekend night, so he's in the Grand Prix for next year, so he can be relaxed, he can focus now on the last 4 rounds and just pick up as many World Championship points as possible. And there is a time. There is a time. Fantastic.
Leads the way. That's the answer. Arrive late, folks.
Yeah.
And he's fastest in qualifying, 14.513. When we were told he was going to be a late arrival, he may actually arrive just in time to take his qualifying lap. And I had visions of him warming the bike up in the van, getting changed in the back of the van, and just jumping out and going straight on the track. But thankfully he did arrive a little bit earlier, but he's top of the pile now.
Brilliant time from Zagar, quite clearly full of confidence, relaxed, turned up at the 11th hour today and has produced a stunning time. And
look what it means to him as well.
Well, that's great. And qualifying hasn't gone so well for him so far this year. And the Grand Prix, in truth, hasn't gone that well for Zagar. He's well outside the top 8. And
doesn't matter now.
No, it does not. And he's taken care of business last weekend. So fair play to him. Now, here's the main man, the championship leader, Leon Madsen. 5 out of 6 finals and has been riding out of the top drawer. He is fast with a capital F. He has got speed everywhere, and so far has produced some stunning performances. Still carrying the ankle injury, Nige, but
he's been having daily treatment, Kelv, back in Poland. He's needed that just to get himself here and you know, as fit as possible. It's not ideal, but he's certainly been a revelation this year, Madsen. And he did say to me a little bit earlier before we started this.
Again, fast on the money.
Very fast.
On the money straight away. And
he said to me earlier, Kelvin, this is now part of the Grand Prix weekend. This is now here, and this is what it's all about. Testing and qualifying on a Friday. It's all part of the Grand Prix weekend.
Look at that. He's gone quicker on his second lap.
He's third.
Fantastic. Now. He's just producing a time once again, giving himself every chance. Of course, we saw 2 weeks ago in Melilla, he wanted #1 because he wanted a freshly prepared track when he was carrying this injury. And that proved to be a terrific decision. But Madsen producing a stunning time again.
3rd place overall, and in the World Championship standings, 6 points clear of Bartosz Smarslik in the World Championship. So a 6-point lead. If he can extend that tomorrow, he will be in a fantastic position going into Vojens, Denmark, his home country. And that is next Saturday. We've got back-to-back weekends in the GP. Here tonight, tomorrow night, I should say. And then next weekend in Vojens, Denmark, where there have been a lot of improvements at the stadium there.
Yeah, really looking forward to going back, Nige. There's Jakob Olsen is now running the show there, and lots of enthusiasm and passion back in the sport in Vojens, the spiritual home of Danish Speedway. So looking forward to that. But we've got tomorrow night and the remainder of the qualifying to look forward to as well. Freddie Lindgren, a winner 2 weeks ago. What a hero he was. He had that incredible crash, saved Dudek's life almost on the track, and then picked himself up and produced a stunning ride to win the Grand Prix in front of his home crowd. Doesn't get any better than that. He produces a reasonable time, not a stunning time, but he hasn't done so far in qualifying. He hasn't been a great qualifier so far this season. But Freddie must be feeling good. I know that he had a bit of an injury with his knee, but he's walking around reasonably well. But that confidence-boosting win 2 weeks ago, I'm sure he's looking forward to the remainder of the Grand Prix series.
5th in the World Championship on 63 points. I was a bit concerned after that meeting in Melilla. I thought, you know, over the next 2 or 3 days after that, it might blow up like a balloon, the knee, but he's absolutely fine. Here he is. And he's in 10th place overall in qualifying now after that.
Yeah, unfortunate, just not quite producing it, but he hasn't done in qualifying so far, Lindgren. So quite possibly he won't be too worried. As I say, that performance 2 weeks ago in Melilla was stunning. He got on the grip at the right time, didn't he, in the final, and just swung around that first corner. It was a stunning ride, and he'll be chuffed to bits with that, but not the best time so far. Now we get Robert Lambert back in the Grand Prix, back from his back injury, and been scoring some points lately. Missed out in the GP Challenge, but that probably came a touch early for him, Nige.
Yeah, I think so, and he's back racing for Kings Lynn in the British League now as well. He's benefiting from this experience, I don't think there's any doubt about that. But I think he needed the challenge. He needed to get through the challenge, really, to get a place next year, because there's going to be a real scramble for wildcard spots, isn't there? If Jason Doyle doesn't get in the top 8, Ty Woofenden,
Greg Hancock.
And Greg Hancock. If Greg is back next year, then, you know, there's huge questions there as well, isn't there? There's only 4 available.
There is, and that may see him miss out, but he's young. 14.8, a little bit untidy, riding wide, so that probably isn't going to work, to be honest, and that puts him in 15th, so he needs to ride tighter, shorter distance, because the track is still quite slick. Yeah, immediately he rode narrower there. He picked up several places. He jumped up from 15th to 7th, so that was a good response from him. Quite clearly reacted, had his thinking cap on there. One last chance, really, now. 14.7 again, so 14.6, that 5.7, that puts him in 7th place. A reasonable effort there.
He's the last man out, so...
Yeah, he'll be pleased with that. So could have been 15th, and he turned a 15th into a 7th, so a good job done by young Robert there.
Yeah, and I know the point is relevant, Kelv, when you say that with someone like Freddie Lindgren, qualifying perhaps doesn't matter that much because he does so well on a Saturday, but the other view is that Leon Madsen is treating this as part of the weekend and part of the strategy.
No, you can't underestimate that. I think that you're absolutely right. Madsen's attitude to the qualifying spot on, and he's pleased. So, yeah, you know, he's done a good job again. He finishes in 3rd place, but Zagar coming out of nowhere, that was a terrific effort from him.
So 15 riders have completed. Matti Zagar is the quickest man of the 15 here. Maciej Janowski 2nd, Leon Madsen 3rd, Ty Woofenden is 4th. Coming shortly, we are going to bring you the pick. Matti Zagar will go first to decide what number from 1 to 16 he goes tomorrow night. Join us for that. Hi there, yes, so British broadcasters and other channels have left us, but we're still here, and we hope you're enjoying our coverage tonight.
They're having a rest.
Yes.
We can't have one.
They've got the kettle on, or gone to the fridge, and we're here. Matti Zagar, what can you say?
Well, that was superb, wasn't it? You know, turned up at the 11th hour, having had all sorts of problems with his travel arrangements today, and just turned the style on there, and just in the second group produced a terrific time, so congratulations to him. We'll just see the replay of it now. He's won here. We've only had 3 Grand Prix previously here. He's won one of them, so it was a couple of years ago. So, yeah, he knows how to get round here. And the bike was really hooked up brilliantly. You could see that. Wheels in line, tidy style, and produced a time that was absolutely spot on.
Fantastic. But you know what, Kelv? Mate is another rider who, when it's not gone so well in qualifying, he appears to just be blasé and brush it to one side.
Well, that's something
but actually, here... Big high five with his pit crew, and it meant a lot to him.
It did, and I think that's something that riders need to reflect on, their attitude towards it, because it's here, and you can't just, you know, wave it away. The fact is that if you can produce a good time, it's got to be a good feel factor of coming back into the pits, and we saw that quite clearly. And when Matti hasn't produced it, he's been a bit dismissive of the qualifying. So I think 1 or 2 guys will sort of get their heads around it, and they'll come to terms with it more and more. But there's no doubt that it puts a real terrific emphasis on a Friday evening. the competitive edge to this is terrific.
There's a buzz around the pits tonight, more than I think I've noticed. It's just gathering momentum, really, I think. That
well, certainly the attention on us is increased massively. So we've had 15 guys out there so far, and it's been entertaining.
We'll take a quick pause while we welcome back our broadcasters from around the world. We're back shortly. Hi there, welcome back to the Burgring Arena here in Teterow, Germany, where 15 riders have been out there and done their qualifying times. And it's Mati Zegar of Slovenia, who's on the crest of a wave after winning the Grand Prix Challenge last weekend to book his place in next year's series. He is the fastest man in qualifying classification here tonight, and he will therefore have first pick of what position to race in tomorrow night. Kelvin, just explain very quickly before we throw across to Phil Morris, the race director, and Kiri. Just explain to us the strategy. The riders now have got a race card in front of them.
Yeah.
Some of them have got program boards, some of them have got clipboards, some of them are using a race card on their iPhone. What's it all about?
You get 5 rides, you've got 4 starts, so you're going to go off one of the starts twice. The opportunity to maybe go off one of the inside gates twice is an advantage. So there are 4 starting positions with 2 gate 1s, and I suspect that they will go fairly quickly. So a better time gives you a better opportunity for a favoured number. So that's really what it's all about.
Yep, they're just organising things by the pit board across the way from us right now, where riders are just making their way, and they're consulting with their managers as well. A lot of the riders here consult very carefully with their pit crew, their strategy in terms of what they're going to do from here. But as for the meeting itself tomorrow, it is a huge meeting because we're at round 7 of 10
business
tomorrow
time.
night. So it's a huge meeting in the context of the World Championship.
The championship's taking shape. Obviously, Leon Madsen's been outstanding. Obviously, the boys behind are under pressure to close the gap. And, of course, the fight for the top 8. There's a lot of guys very close from probably about 6th through to 10th. You know, it could go any way. So really can't make too many mistakes at this stage. And Teterow tomorrow night, it's going to be good weather. You're going to have to make some good starts because it will be, the emphasis will be on trapping tomorrow night.
Yeah, we've got a good weather forecast for tomorrow, which hasn't been the case here in Teterow over the last couple of years or so.
No.
They've had to scrape the top surface off just to get some sort of track for us because of the rain.
Well, last year was really touch and go, and it ended up being a terrific night, but certainly at the beginning it was difficult and we had to have a delay. But there's no question that we're looking set fair for tomorrow evening. New surface, new material that's been mixed into the track. They'll work hard to pound it back in so it's as firm as it can be. But no, World Championship points on the line, and as you rightly say, round 7, it's all getting very serious now.
And round 8 is a week later, back-to-back rounds of the World Championship. So it just makes you wonder how important is the next week in the World Championship season.
This next 7 days is going to be huge. You know, somebody could make a real... If Leon Madsen stamps his authority on the World Championship and extends his lead, well, then all of a sudden he's looking in a very good spot. But this man's in a great spot because
start position number 13.
Number 13 for Mati.
He will start on gate 4 and then go out with gate 1, but 2 gate 1s for him tomorrow night.
Okay, Mati, well, you came late, you didn't have much time to practice, and you did the fastest time. Any reason for your gate choice there, number 13, lucky for some?
Yeah, no, I wanna start a meeting late, but once it starts, you know, I wanna go bang, 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 bang. So that's why I choose this one. Plus, it's got 2 gate 1s, which normally works pretty good here. No crazy forecast for tomorrow, so you know, full gas.
I'm glad you made it. Thanks, Mati.
Cheers.
Well, that's nice to see him with a smile on his face.
In his civvies is Maciej Janowski.
Yep, the strategy from Mati Zegar there. Man who has looked pretty blasé about it in the past, but means a lot tonight.
Maciej is picking
number 5.
Number 5 for Maciej Janowski, who's wasted no time in having a shower and getting changed, and he's going to have a chat with Kiri now.
Okay, Magic, picking number 5 there. We like the casual attire as well. Picking number 5, any reason for that gate choices?
Because of gate 1 on the beginning, and that's the only reason, because I don't even see the start line today, so that's it.
All right, thanks, Magic.
Thank you.
Yeah, but he had that before, and it worked well for him, so there's no doubt that that's part of his thinking there, and nicely spaced races.
Leon is selecting start position number 1. Good luck.
Okay, well, he's gone for that again. Not a lot of
Starts
riders.
and finishes with an inside gate, right?
Yeah, a lot of riders don't like that because of the freshly prepared track.
Let's hear his reasons why. Kiri.
Okay, Leon, freshly graded tack every time. Explain your choices.
Yeah, I picked number 1 after you're coming out on the track after each track service. I think that's pretty good. And in the last race, you have a gate 1. So if you need a heat win, it's always better to finish with the inside gate in the last heat. So and it worked out well for me in Målilla, so hopefully it will do that again tomorrow.
Perfect. Thanks, Leon.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, as I say, a lot of guys don't like it.
And
but,
4th fastest in qualifying, world champion current,
concerned at all.
Ty Woofenden. Ty, please select your start position number.
Woofenden, best qualifying so far of the year. Got pushed down a couple of places. He was in second place
start position number 14.
for a little while, but 14 for the world champion. That gives him 2 gate 2s and a gate 2 and a gate 1 to start with.
Let's hear from him with Kiri.
Okay, Ty, a lot of back and forth with your mechanics there. Choosing your gate choice is number 14. Any reasons?
I just drew it out of the hat.
Really?
Here's what it is.
All right, thanks, Ty.
And next,
there you go, pretty
to
relaxed
pick
attitude
is
from the
rocket,
world champion.
Anton Lindbach.
Antonio Lindbach of
please select
Sweden
your
now.
Start position number.
He needs a good Grand Prix tomorrow.
Anton has selected start position number 8. Good luck.
2 gate 2s for him tomorrow
Next
night.
To pick
so
is,
he'll be looking
Russian
forward to that.
Emil Seiferdinov.
The Russian rocket coming up. He has
Emil
no
has selected
hesitation.
Start position number 9. Good luck.
He has start number 9. That
Next
will give
to
him
pick
2 gate
is young Brit Robert
gate
Lambert.
1s rather at the end of the night.
Robert, please
Peter Adams has just walked away with Ty Woofenden with his arm round him as if he was really pleased with number 14.
Number 6. Good luck.
Number 6 for Robert Lambert. I don't know whether Ty's just trying to do a bit of reverse psychology.
2 gate 4s for Lambert tomorrow night, Nige, so he'll be hoping it all works. Schmarzlik coming up now. They're having a bit of a look at what they want. I think they've made up their minds, so it won't be too much of a hesitation here.
Number 10, good luck.
Number 10 for him.
Next is Australian former
2
world
gate
champion
3s,
Jason Doyle.
not great.
Straight in, start position number 4. Good luck, Doyley.
That gives him 2 gate 4s and outside gate in the first race.
Please select your start position number, Yanis.
So here he
Select
goes.
Start position
winner in Prague.
Number 2. Good luck.
And he goes at number 2 tomorrow, so he'll be out in heat 1.
And he have 2 gate 2s as well. That's not too bad at all.
Here's Freddie in his phone.
Lindgren.
He's got that app on there, hasn't he, with the race card on? No problem.
Studying the form.
Hopefully it'll work out for him. It did a couple of weeks ago.
Freddie, select your start position number. Freddie has selected start position number 12. Thank you, Freddie.
Starts on the outside tomorrow night, and he finishes with 2 gate 2s, so that could be quite a useful number for him.
Dudek.
Wonder if Phil Morris is going to get a job pulling the FA Cup draw
Patrick,
in the
select
UK.
your
He's doing a
start
good job with these
Got
draws.
plenty of practice in the Grand Prix series this year.
Start position number 16.
Liverpool would get a good draw if he was doing it, Phil Morris.
Certainly would do. Certainly 2 gate 4s for Patrick tomorrow night. I'm not sure 16's a great draw for him tomorrow evening, but Niels Christian Iversen coming up now.
Is Danish, just qualified for next year's Grand Prix, Niels Christian Iversen. And Niels has selected start position number 11. Good luck.
Slots into number 11 there, Niels Christian Iversen.
2 gate 4s.
Okay, next to pick.
Might be quite useful.
Just putting the cube in there, like slotting in a little bit of Lego.
Martin
must have been good at Lego as a kid.
Did you have that when you were a child?
Yes.
Yeah.
I might go to Legoland in Billund when we go to Voyens, actually.
Brought back some childhood memories for you, I'm pleased.
Absolutely.
15. Number 15 starts with an inside, then a gate number 2, so needs to get his points early.
Artem Laguta, his young son, will make his choice. And you pick start position number 7.
Great stuff.
Thank you very much.
Well done, young man.
2 gate 3s tomorrow for Artem, so he'll be hoping that works out for him.
And he will
Martin
be
Smolinski
in
then.
Start position number 3.
Number 3 for Martin Smolinski.
Start position draw for the Aztorin German Speedway Grand Prix.
Well done, Phil Morris. Good stuff. And there we have the gate positions, if you like, and the 1 to 16. So Matti Zegar is at number 13 tomorrow, which means he'll have back-to-back red gate 1s in heats 5 and 12.
And also back-to-back races, because he'll have heat 4 and 5. We'll have a track grade in between, but he said he wanted to wait and then get going with a bit of a rattle. He'll certainly have that. If he wins his first 2 races, he'll be well and truly in control.
Look at Madsen again, though, Kelv. Starts and finishes with the inside gate.
Everything he's been asked of this season so far, Grand Prix level, he has delivered. And once again, he's done an outstanding job. A little bit further down the pack here. Jason Doyle there, he'll be looking for a big night, and he knows this place well. Freddie Lindgren, of course, winner 2 weeks ago. 2 gate 2s to finish for Lindgren. That's not a disaster at all.
Yeah, so that's the way it's worked out here this evening. And Martin Smolinski left with number 3 after his non-attendance tonight because of that injury, of course, but he will be riding here in the Burgring Arena in Teterow tomorrow evening. A reminder, we start at 7 o'clock local time tomorrow night. The first race will be 7:04, 6:04 back in the UK. A terrific night of Speedway ahead. Let's continue the build-up to tomorrow and a bit of reaction to tonight as well with qualifying classification. Let's hear from Kiri now.
Thanks, Nigel. Well, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes when we're picking those gates. Now, Hans, you've got your pad out there, you've got your phone out there. Now you're picking and helping Niels and Leon. It's really tough to make the right gate choices.
It is, and you don't really know whether it's the right one or not till tomorrow. But obviously, you got to work from you know, what used to be good, and obviously gate 1, 2, and 4 are the favorites normally. So obviously with Leon having a fairly early pick, he got the number 1, which he's quite pleased about, which is 2 inside gates. Obviously the negative thing about it is that you're out after every track rating, so sometimes it becomes a little wet. But I think the way they handled it today with the water cart was really good, and so I think it'll be okay for him tomorrow. As far as Niels Christian, it's you know, he didn't have such an early pick, but you know, I think he got a good pick in the end. 11 gives him 2 outside gates, and the history books tells us that's pretty good as well, the outside, and he will start off on blue and then red, so you know, inside at first. So I think he was pretty happy with that as well.
Okay, and what do you make of Leon going out on that freshly graded track? It worked for him in Melilla. Do you think it'll be the same here?
Partly the reason he picked it in Melilla was because of his obviously his ankle was hurting a lot. It's still not 100%, so obviously having a fresh track for each race, you know, grading and tire packing, it'll be more smooth, and so that'll do him good, I think, for now. But obviously you never know with the grading what happens. But I think from what we've seen today, I think that they got that under control, so hopefully it'll be okay for him.
Okay, well, Leon's 6 points clear in that championship table at the moment. I know he's got TV crews after him, and he said in Denmark everyone's making such a big deal of this 6 points clear. Can you notice any extra pressure on his shoulders, or is he still as calm as ever?
I think he's taking it really well. I think he's as calm as ever, yeah, and I think that's his focus, trying to, you know, take things as they are, and you know, he can only do his best, and he's got a very good attitude there. So, you know, unless he's you know, injuries or something comes his way, I think he's certainly got a good chance to pull it on from here.
All right, thanks so much, Hans Nielsen. Nigel, I'm going to hand back to you, and Kelvin.
Thanks so much indeed, Kiri. Love Hans Nielsen's programme board, by the way. That must be from the 80s. A bit of retro. Fantastic.
Very much so.
Here's the World Championships. Have you got a Kelvin Tatum one left?
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the loft.
Madsen leads the way, 75 points and 6 ahead of Bartosz Marzlik. Emil Seifudenov and Martin Vasilik on 68. Freddie Lindgren on 63. The race for the top 8 as well. You see Artem Laguta on 50, and just behind him, Janis Kawadze on 48. Jason Doyle, 42, former world champion. Niels Christian Iversen is in the series next year anyway, after qualifying alongside Matti Zagar and Max Frick.
Yeah, those three
from
all
the
together.
GP Challenge. They're all together there. Max Frick not in the GP this weekend, as he is a substitute who is not required this coming weekend. So we're here tomorrow. We are in Voyens next weekend, where we're told there's going to be upwards of 15,000 fans at the Voyens Speedway Centre. Tickets on sale for the Principality Stadium, Cardiff. British fans, get along to the Principality Stadium on Saturday, the 21st of September for the British Grand Prix. It's later than normal, but it's the penultimate round of the series at Cardiff.
Well, it's going to be crucial, isn't it, in the outcome of the season? The biggest show on earth in Speedway terms is going to be, you know, the penultimate round, which is the first time that's ever happened. So we're very much looking forward to that, and it will be a fabulous night, of course. And we've got a roof, so we are guaranteed Speedway that night, that's for sure. But tomorrow night we're guaranteed Speedway because we've got a great forecast. And as we've been saying, it's round 7. It's getting very nitty-gritty now. Leon Madsen has kind of thrown the gauntlet down to his competitors. He's got that lead in the championship, and he's producing all the time. So there's no doubt the guys chasing hard have got to come up with some big performances. You know, Emil Seifutinov needs to bounce back after a poor Halstavik, and Schmarslik needs to kick on once again as well. So hugely exciting, and it really is open, this championship. But as I say, there's no doubt that the form from Madsen so far has been championship winning form. Can somebody turn up tomorrow and lower his colours, because so far he's been terrific. But
double figures galore, just one single figure score. That was in Halstavik in round 4, where he scored 7 points. This man is Emil Seifutinov, who had 4 double figure scores on the trot before the previous round, and he needs a double figure score tomorrow night.
Yeah, he just slipped up in Melilla, just didn't get the right setup right. Won the Speedway of Nations, of course. He won in Halstavik the Grand Prix, and really was on a roll, and then it just had a bit of a handbrake on it last time out. So but they're a vastly experienced team right now, and you know, a lot of people are rooting for Emil. There's no doubt about that. Hugely popular rider, and it wouldn't be too bad if he was the world champion. Of course not, but there's a long way to go yet, just under half the series to go.
Yep, very much so. Well, we know the riding order. The fans here tomorrow night will be filling in their race day programme tomorrow here at the Bergring Arena in Teterow. We're looking forward to a terrific night of racing. Whatever you're doing over the weekend, make sure that you join us tomorrow night, because we have got a good weather forecast, and we are at an absolutely vital stage of the World Championship. Who will win it? Well, who knows tomorrow night. Leon Madsen is the man in the driving seat when it comes to the World Championship. He's up there now to be caught, Kelv.
He is, yes, because, as I say, 5 out of 6 finals and rock solid on the point scoring, great in qualifying as well. He hasn't slipped up, has he? And some of the other guys have once or twice. So, yeah, he's there to be shot at right now.
Thanks for your time tonight, Kelv. Great work alongside Kiri Blore, and we'll be back here in the Bergring Arena Teterow tomorrow night. Join us for that.
Good night.